Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Francia, and on this channel, we do a little bit of everything. But lately, I have been interested in true crime, and if you're interested as well, I hope you hit your subscribe button and your notification bell so that you always know when I upload. Today's video is honestly more upsetting than it is long, okay? I'm very upset and also very curious as to what the heck was going on, like who did it and why, because this makes zero sense. I'm not familiar with the laws of my own country, okay, let alone a whole nother country which language I don't even speak. But like I said, what the heck was going on in Colombia all those years ago, and quite frankly to this day? This is just ridiculous. So this guy was convicted for unaliving 50 something people. However, he has claimed that he has taken over 300 lives, okay? 300 lives of young girls. He raped and unalived them. Just a sick man. So it's not going to be a long story, like I said. It's very short, but here we are. Who exactly are we talking about? Let's get into it. Disclaimer, my Spanish is not there. Okay, so let me be great and just, mind a business that does not pay you. Okay? Pedro Alonso Lopez was born in Colombia in 1948 and was the 7th of 13 children born to Benilda Lopez Castañeda. Oh, lordy. She was a laundry worker by day and a sexy time worker by night. Now, my understanding is that she didn't always work as a sexy time worker. What had happened was right around the time this woman, lovely woman, was popping these kids out, there was a war going on between the right-wing party and the left-wing party, or the Republican or Democrat, if you want to think about it that way. And her husband, baby daddy, I'm not sure if they were married, Pedro's father, Megdardo Reyes, was a member of the right-wing party, or the Republican, and he was unalived by the left-wing party 6 months before Pedro was born. So your baby daddy person died. You're on kid number 7, and you don't have technically a provider, somebody to help you raise them 7 children, and you go and acquire 6 more. Look, I'm not judging because I don't know what her circumstances were at the time, but ma'am, what did you do? Look for a padre to help you with the 7 that you already have, and then he gave you 1 more, and then he left you, and then you went and looked for another padre to help with the 8 children that you now have? Because I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me how you acquired 6 more children after you no longer had a partner or a provider. I guess that's how she resorted to turning tricks. I don't know. Listen, I know that was a culture back then because a lot of these people didn't have a whole lot of things going for them, and they were just having children left and right, and nothing wrong with that, but like 13 of them? That's crazy. I have people where I'm from who had more than 13 children, so I'm not dumbfounded by the fact that somebody had 13 children, but I'm always like, how? I know a woman in my hometown who had 14 children, and I used to think like, oh my gosh, that's so many. And then I talk to other people, they're like, oh, my mom had like 16, or my mom had like 18, or my grandmother had like 24. Huh? Stop it right now, because who's hoo-ha? Who is going to break open their hoo-has and pop 24 children? That is where I draw the line. I can't even imagine. I've had 2 kids and that was pushing it. No, absolutely not. And the other thing too, I feel like there's so many downsides to having so many children, especially way back when. Like, there's no way you can put all of them through school. There's no way all of them can get an education. And sadly, that is what happened to Pedro. He did not have an education. It was said that, according to his mother, he was a nice and polite boy growing up, and he had dreams of becoming a teacher. But, homie, you need an education to become a teacher. And I don't know how she was supposed to put you through school. You're number 7. You're not even top 3. Okay, you're not even in the top 3. You are number 7. If you were in the top 3, perhaps you might have had a chance, but you're number 7, my guy. That is so sad. That is very sad. I understand children are a blessing, but a whole lot of them you're doing a let me just stop. Okay. Pedro would say that his mom was physically abusive towards the children. And like I said before, she worked as a sexy time worker, and she also would be abused by clients. So it was a vicious cycle. It was said that Pedro loved and appreciated living in his mom's house because the outside was just a nightmare. Like the war in which his father was unalived was still going on. It went on for 10 years. So outside was just not it, and he did not care to be out there. However, that's not how life unfolded for Pedro. Unfortunately, homeboy got into some trouble at home. It was said that his mom caught him messing around with one of his little sisters. Ew. And she kicked him out. There are some sources that said he ran away, but I'm going to lean more towards the being kicked out, because why would he run away? Doesn't make sense. So yeah, his worst nightmare became a reality. He was a homeless 8-year-old boy. As a defenseless kid roaming the streets of Bogota, I don't know. He was an easy target, and unfortunately, he was often sexually abused. So much so that he got tired of it, and he ended up joining a gang, like a street gang comprised of a whole bunch of children, just for protection. However, things would come down for Pedro for a little bit though. When he was 10 years old, he got adopted by this American immigrant family, and they took him and, give him a decent life, a place to stay, food to eat, and put him through school. And everything was going fine until Pedro, unfortunately, again got assaulted and he ran away. And unfortunately, things would just keep going downhill from here. In 1969, Pedro stole a car and got caught, and he went to prison for 7 years, right? And while he was in there were 3 other inmates who just kept violating him, and he got tired of them raping him all the time, and he just snapped and unalived all of them out of revenge. I mean, I can't really fault him too much for those ones, Keep your pee-pee in your pants unless you're taking a piss or a shower. Otherwise, keep your pee-pee in your pants and out of someone else's poop hole, If they don't want your pee-pee in their poop hole, then don't put it in there. What is wrong with you? So, yeah, he did what he had to do. It is what it is. And because of this little incident, 2 more years were added to his sentence, and so he was in there until 1978. After he got out in 1978, all hell broke loose. He started wandering through South America, the northwestern areas to be more precise, and he eventually made it to Peru. He would later claim that during his little traveling time period, he unalived over 100 girls, mostly from the streets, just like he was. And of course, those were his words. They were not able to verify whether or not he was telling the truth for sure. But he got captured by a tribe in South Central Peru for attempting to abduct a 9-year-old girl. Don't play with them. Don't play with them, tribe. No, sir. They got him, and they were about to bury homeboy alive. They did not care. Yes, protect yours. But luckily for Pedro here, and sadly for those future victims, there were these American missionary Christian people that were there. They convinced them to let him go and just hand him over to the police and not bury him alive. Dang it. They listened to the American people and turned him over to the police, who did not even detain him, but instead they deported him from the country. What? Now, why would you do that? Attempted kidnapping is not a crime for y'all. It's like if you're not a citizen of Peru, then they just deport you, even though you committed a crime. I know a guy from my country who was over here in these United States of America. He got involved with the wrong people, was accused of committing a crime. He went to prison for a hot little minute, served all of his time, and then got deported. So I don't know why they didn't do that in Peru. I guess, I don't know, it's just depend on the country. But yeah, they just deported him. I don't get it. But yeah, they let him go which didn't help those poor victims because after he got deported, he just went back to business, luring young girls away from crowds, raping and unaliving them. And I don't know why they didn't make the connection, because as soon as he was roaming free, people were just disappearing left and right. But I guess he was in Peru and then he got deported. Too much. He was traveling way too much. And for whatever reason, authority thought that they were disappearing because of human trafficking. I mean, yeah, but also no, because did you look into it to see if you found bodies or anything like that? You know, it could be trafficking. Yeah, but what did you do to rule it out? You didn't. But these parents were not giving up. Parents are always going to be parents, man. It doesn't matter. They're always going to be parents. They never gave up. They just kept searching for their daughters, putting ads in the papers, doing everything they can to bring attention to the fact that their daughters are going missing in waves, and the police are not doing anything. Good for them. Bravo. Now, even though the parents couldn't get the police to investigate these young girls' disappearance, nature would force their hands. Yes, what happened was in April of 1980, there was a flash flood that hit the Ambato, Ecuador area, and it disturbed a lot of grave sites, and bodies came floating up to the surface. And those girls were being identified as some of the people that went missing. There's a whole lot of them, and that's finally what got the police attention. They started thinking maybe these people were not being trafficked, and that maybe somebody was actually unaliving them. No shirt. And that's when they finally decided to reopen a lot of the cases that they had already closed because they're behind with saying like, oh no, it's trafficking or whatever. Now, homeboy Pedro was finally on their radar, unbeknownst to him, right? So one good day, this woman was going to the market with her 12-year-old daughter, and Pedro here attempted to abduct the girl, but folks were like, absolutely not on our watch. See, the thing about third world countries is that we don't like to stand by somewhere and record on our little phones as crimes unfold, because ain't no justice where we're from, okay? We usually are the judge, jury, prosecutor, eyewitnesses, and rarely the defense attorney, okay? We actually do what we can when we can, except of course if it's like a gang situation and they have weapons and whatnot, you know. Gotta be smart. So anyways, everybody gathered. They overpowered him and held him down until the police came and arrested him. That's what I'm talking about. Good for y'all. When Pedro was taken in, he just did not want to cooperate. He didn't want to talk to the police. He was just silent. He was mute, okay? Homeboy was not saying anything. And after they realized that that's how he was going to play his little game, they came up with a plan. They had one of their own go in there and posed as an inmate and got him to earn Pedro's trust, which he did. And Pedro just spilled his entire guts to this man. He told him that he unalived over 200 people in Ecuador, some in Peru, and a whole lot of them in Colombia. He told him that he would lure them away from the public with little trinket of promises that he couldn't keep, of course. He would then rape them and would use his bare hands to strangle them. That's psycho. Then he continued to say that he would exhume the victims' bodies to have tea parties with them. What kind of sickness, sir? Ay. Monsieur gon problème. C'est un problème, oui, ça pas normal. Ça pas normal. Mes amis, moi. Ket, monsieur. So then the guy asked him why he was doing all of that. Yeah, sir. What possessed you to do something like that? He then told the guy, quote, I lost my innocence at the age of 8, so I decided to do the same to as many girls as I could. End quote. My guy. Should not be exactly why you would want to protect other children so that they wouldn't have to go through what you went through. And also, obviously, no one unalived you because you're still here doing the most. If you wanted them to suffer the way that you did, you would just grape them and leave them alone, even though that is so bad. But why are you unaliving them? No one unalived you. Nah, bro, you got a short circuit up there. You got something not right. You did not want to just inflict pain on them as pain was inflicted upon you. You got a lot more going on. You're sick. You're psychotic. You're a sociopath. Irks me. Just want to put hands on these folks. Anyways, after he confessed, he then led the police to the remains of at least 53 young girls, and then he continued to add more until he got to 110 just in Ecuador alone. I mean, I know things were done to him. I understand that he was victimized and assaulted and all that. And I've heard the whole hurt people type situation, but all these kids, did you really have to unalive all these young girls who had nothing to do with what happened to you? That is sick and crazy. Ugh. Later that year, Pedro was convicted of the murders and he was sentenced to, get this, you will not believe this. Guess how many years he was sentenced to? Oh, you guessed it. 16 long years. Yep. For everybody he unalived, he only got 16 years. 16 years in prison for all these people. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It turned out that it was the maximum sentence available in Ecuador at the time. That's crazy. That is 16 years. And as you can imagine, the public was outraged about this. And rightfully so, because 16 years is a slap in the face. All of these people who lost their daughters to watch this man only get 16 years, that is so annoying. I don't know what I would have done. At this point, I would just take matters into my own hands and then I would just go in there. I'll take his place. I will take him out of this world and then I will take his place since he can only be in there for 16 years. I'll do his 16 years, put him in the ground. Ugh. And so it got me thinking. I'm like, there's got to be a reason as to why your maximum sentence for murder charges, like first degree murder charges at that, is 16 years. Could it be that you don't have enough prisons, or perhaps they're not big enough for you to hold a lot of people at one time and you have to rotate them out so you can bring in the new ones? It has to be a not enough space and way too many criminals type situation, because what do you mean 16 years is the max you can give a criminal convicted of murder? I don't necessarily believe in capital punishment, but could there be an exception sometimes? Because that was too many people. That was way too many bodies. And later on, I'm not sure if something opened up and they got enough rooms, I guess, but they upped it to 25 years. Are you serious? It's still not enough. Newsflash. It is still not enough. Fix it. That's crazy. You ain't never heard of life in prison without the possibility of parole? You ain't never heard of that? That'll be a no, I guess, because listen to what they did next. Pedro was incarcerated at the, oh Lord, my Spanish, Garcia Moreno prison, and he was released 2 years earlier on August 13 of 1994. 2 years earlier, on an already not enough years in prison sentence, they released him earlier for good behavior. Ah, Lord, I get so upset whenever I see this. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Certain people should not be released early on good behavior. If you touched little kids, if you unalived little kids, or if you unalived people, there should be no early release for your behind. No matter how much of a model citizen you all of a sudden became, you should rot in there, thug it out and rot in there and serve out your full sentence. Good behavior, my dear. Yeah. No. So after all that happened, he got kicked out of Ecuador. At least they processed him and saved a whole bunch of lives during those 14 years he was in there, unlike the dum-dums in Peru. Shortly after his release, he was immediately considered an illegal immigrant and they shipped him over to Colombia. And when he got there, they tried to charge him for a 20-year-old murder, but instead he was declared insane for whatever reason and was sent to a mental institution in 1995 where he stayed for 3 years. This guy just kept getting lucky and lucky and lucky. My goodness, I wish I had this much luck in life. He was released in February of 1998 after he was declared sane. Okay. And I don't know, instead of sending him back to jail where he belonged, they released him on a $70 bail with some additional stipulations that he would check in with authorities periodically, like probation or something. But that's not what homeboy did, okay? As soon as he was released, he bolted. He was like, I am out of here. He never checked in with them as he was supposed to, and the last time he was seen was in 1999 when he went in to get his citizenship card renewed. That's crazy. That is nuts. Who was running? Who was running this operation over in Colombia? Who was running things? Because why was Homeboy not sent to jail after he was quote unquote sane? It was said that Colombian National Police and Interpol issued a warrant for his arrest in 2002 because there was a murder that shared some similarities with his MO. He was also wanted as a suspect in another murder that happened in Colombia in 2012. No one knows where he is. No one knows where this person is. I am hoping he is dead in a ditch somewhere, but that could potentially not be the case, you know? And if he's still alive, he is in his like 70s, like mid to late 70s, which means he could still move and shake. And he could still be unaliving people, especially little girls. I am hoping that's not the case, but it's crazy that this lunatic could be anywhere in the world right now if he's still alive. That's crazy, sad, and scary. Wow, I am speechless. Somebody needs to do something. Change these rules, add some more prison. I don't know. Adopt the capital punishment so you can free up rooms. I don't know, but some people should not be out here with the rest of us. I said what I said. I hope he's no longer with us. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of Pedro Alonso Lopez. I wish that so many things were different. I wish that they could have kept him in jail a little bit longer or in the mental institution a little bit longer, or perhaps they believed in capital punishment, like I said before, just anything to keep that guy from unaliving more people. But that was not the case, darn it. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. And please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in my next one. But until then, I hope to see you in the comment section. Bye.